작은 것 같아. 너만 준비돼
Welcome to
있다면.
Sex at 10. I'm Rebecca Rosenblat, certified relationship and sexuality therapist and your host, here to answer your questions on all things intimate. Whether you're stuck in a relationship dilemma, have issues with your body, trust, trauma, addiction, or orientation, or just need a little help with turning up the heat in your bedroom, give us a shout at 1-800-968-7836 and let's chat. Everything's fair game. If you've thought about it, we can talk about it. FYI, since tonight is our last live show before the summer, if you have any important questions, better call us right away. Speaking of important, let's begin with a discussion on a really important topic, taking advantage of your hormonal changes for better sex. Love the sound of that versus allowing hormones to run you. And to help me with that, we have one of our favorite guests joining us tonight, Chia Chia Sun. Chia Chia is a pharmaceutical executive turned women's health entrepreneur whose passions include breaking taboos and creating products for women over 40. Currently, she's the founder and CEO of Damiva Inc., responsible for bringing those exciting products to us. Welcome and happy birthday. You're sacrificing your special birthday night to be with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And this is so much fun. I can't think of a better way to spend my birthday.
Oh, well, we're touched. You've raised the bar. I hope we have lots of fun tonight. I know we will, knowing you. Chia Chia, since we'll be talking about how to take advantage of hormonal changes, why don't we start off by discussing what those are?
Well, you know, Rebecca, I think that it's a very interesting period, actually, for womankind, because our life expectancy is now 81 or 82 in Canada. So a lot of our focus on sexual health and desirability and wanting and needing sex has focused on the first 40 years of our lives rather than the next 40 years. And so in terms of hormonal fluxes, ages 40 to 50 are actually when we have the most hormonal flux in our lives, apart from when we're 12 to 20.
Yeah,
And
entering puberty and the awkward teen years.
exactly. And now it's the reversal of puberty. So our hormones are declining. But what we also know is that our hormones do increase at times throughout our cycle between the ages of 40 to 50. So our estrogen can actually double and our progesterone can double too. And estrogen is the happy organizing hormone and progesterone is the loving nurturing hormone. So it's a great time to take advantage of the fact that we certainly have highs and lows, and why not take advantage of the highs?
Particularly the highs. And you know, for women, it's more about how we feel about ourselves, as opposed to necessarily when our body is at its best or it looks its best. It's how we feel about ourselves. And as we mature and we become seasoned, we feel better about our accomplishments. That's when sex gets even more important. I have a friend who's a sociologist, and she was saying that exactly what you've said, that we're entering this really unique time where we can put our landmarks to rest. We have a second wind and we can really come into our own, and sex is definitely a part of that. So totally agree with what you've just said. Viewers, if you can't make sense of your body or what's going on with your partner's hormonal changes, tonight's a great night to call in and have those questions answered. So grab that phone right now and call us. Chia Chia, how can hormonal swings help with sex?
So we have essentially 3 hormones that help with sex: testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. And testosterone, as you know, is the libido hormone. And it essentially peaks on day 14 of your cycle. And that's pretty consistent. So that's a great time on day 10 to 12 when you're thinking about buying that piece of sexy lingerie. Go out and buy it.
Getting ready for ovulation.
Getting ready for ovulation. Go out and buy it and take
With
advantage.
a toy or two.
Exactly. And so it's really important, I think, you know, that we get attuned to our cycles too,
Right.
especially as we age and over the ages of 40, because we will have these fluxes. So it's important to recognize, okay, wow, I'm really feeling desirable and sexy tonight, and that's likely because of my testosterone, and I need to take advantage of it.
Exactly.
And then there'll be other days where we will feel very happy with estrogen surges,
Right.
and very organized as well. And then progesterone is usually the trickier one, because definitely some women have progesterone surges where they'll all of a sudden, love everyone, cry, nurturing cry, maybe feel a little emotional, but progesterone can surge as well. And so it's really important that, when you have those highs, that you actually live them and, desire them and
ride the wave and have fun with it.
Exactly.
It almost sounds like, when a guy's had a little bit too much to drink. I love you, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So progesterone is kind of doing that. But that's a great point, that when you do have the surges, it's wonderful to be able to take advantage of them, and particularly with testosterone, because it even changes the tenor of our voice, so we become more desirable and whatnot. So, and I think as women, we can experience it when we're in that stage where we're feeling sexy. Maybe we're giving off a vibe. Maybe we're giving off a scent or whatever, but what men will come on to you more when you're in that ovulation period.
Absolutely.
But even after, when you stop ovulating, even then the surges are definitely there, because you can have that same experience even sans the ovulation. So great point.
Exactly.
Swinging hormones, or just plain swinging. We're taking all your intimate questions, so do call in for expert advice. Chia Chia, it makes sense how the usual dance of sex hormones, that's in our design, and it leads to, well, sex. How can declining hormones also help with sex, better sex at that? So,
our most stable period as women of hormonal balance is really between the ages of 25 to 35. So it's actually quite limited. And so between the ages of 35 onward, we are experiencing flex. But certainly what happens, and it's happening to me for sure, is that as my hormones decline, I have a better sense of what I want from myself, my partner, my life. I'm much less afraid to ask for it, and train myself to do new things in terms of communicating and asking for what I want. And so I think certainly after menopause, that becomes a very stable time in our lives in terms of hormones. And I think women live it with a new clarity, a new purpose, new pleasure.
And you're not trapped in that nurturing mode where you're putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own.
Exactly.
And it's all of a sudden, it's like, what about me?
That's right. And so you have this clarity. You have maybe children who are out of the house, and you can certainly look to your own satisfaction, sexual satisfaction, in a way you may never have been able to in the past.
So timing is everything too. And even before we become empty nesters, when kids, they sort of have their own life and they're out, and suddenly instead of driving them to different practices, you have all this time. And I think it's a really valid point to start taking advantage of it then, because when you do become empty nesters, I have a lot of couples that'll come to me, they don't even know each other anymore. It's the kids, the busyness around them that has held them together. And suddenly they're empty nesters. So to be able to take advantage leading up to it, those surges, what a great idea to just enjoy them. And we know when they happen, we feel it, we get all hot and horny and bothered. So we have to take advantage of it. What this says is that women are every bit as sexual as men, and studies show that later in life their desire for partner replacement therapy can be even more significant than that for men, even though we've been led to believe otherwise. So viewers, if you have any myth-breaking stories or questions of your own, do join in our discussion tonight right away. Chia Chia, seeing that sex after 40 can get better, not worse, what's your #1 recommendation to make that happen?
It's really important to keep having it.
Keep having it, absolutely.
And having it in a great way. And as you were saying about being busy with your life, whether it's having children or your career or other aspects, I think when you hit that age of 40 to 50, perimenopause, it's important to start training yourself for outgrowing old habits.
Really valid point,
breaking those habits, acquiring new habits.
Right.
Like you were saying, when you have the kids who are, out with their friends, you should be doing something with your friends.
Yeah.
Or with your partner. or something intimate you've never done before.
Or yourself. A
Or
little
yourself.
menage a moi doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a really good point, a really valid point, to be taking advantage of that time and breaking old habits and sort of looking forward to that time. And I like what you said at the beginning of the comment. You said, have it often. Because what we know is that particularly with women, the more sex we have, the greater testosterone production, the greater the dopamine production. So the more we have it, the more we want it. The lesser we have it, the lesser we crave it. And we can get to a point where it's take it or leave it, rather leave it. And for women, they can also have the flip-flop where the response cycle changes. So instead of desire, arousal, stimulation, orgasm, desire, arousal, switch places. Sometimes women will say, you know, I don't have desire, so why would I want to do it? Well, if you're missing the connection, focus on how you'd like to feel as opposed to how you're feeling, and just kind of give yourself a head start. Or maybe you can say to your partner, I'm not feeling like it, but if you can get me going. So I think that's really good to come up with ways to do it a lot, do it creatively, and make it fun, because the body habituates to some things that if you do the same old, it gets boring and stops even registering. So just throwing in some new ideas.
And also there's a physiological basis behind it, because even after menopause, our ovaries are still making hormones.
Exactly.
We're still making testosterone, estrogen, to a lesser degree progesterone. And so our adrenal glands compensate, but those ovaries are still working.
Absolutely.
And so we want to keep them primed, and we want to keep them
I like
going.
that primed, yeah.
And if we keep them going through continuing to have sex,
Right.
you know, more sex, better sex, you know, then definitely that helps with hormonal balancing and the production of hormones.
So it's almost like a loop. So you're kind of feeding back into it. And I love that word primed, and you sort of keeping them young, keeping them busy, keeping them going, not giving them a chance to just kind of give up and not do anything any longer. But that's a really valid point, because lots of times women don't realize that their ovaries are still producing those hormones. They think that's it. Once I'm in perimenopause or menopause, that's it, the shop is closed. And it's not.
It's not.
There's a lot of women who say that sex is even hotter. It's even better. They don't have to worry about periods. They don't have to worry about responsibilities, and they can just be present. And also, you know, the change of life also means we don't go out with friends as often as we would. We're not constantly partying, so we spend a lot more time with our partner.
Right.
So most people that I know, particularly septuagenarians, even octogenarians, they say, we're staying at home, we're spending more time together, so we're trying to make that more fun. So again, it comes back to creating the opportunity to really keep sex hot. There's no reason why it shouldn't be.
That's right. There's no physiological
There's
reason.
no physiological reason why it can't be happening. And in a bit, we'll talk about some of the products that you have to give it a little bit of a boost. Viewers, whether you're male or female, under over 40, if you want hot sex, call in to discuss your desires, and we'll do our best to help you get there. FYI, this is your last chance before summer to get your questions answered. So don't wait too long if you want to make sure that we can get to you. Chia Chia, let's go to the other side next. Can sex get worse after age 40? Because that's a question that a lot of people have, and a lot of people just assume that. So maybe you can cover that a little bit.
It's definitely it can definitely happen for physiological and biological reasons, because we do lose estrogen. Estrogen is the lubricating hormone. We lose it in our vaginal tissues. We lose it in our mucous membranes. We also lose it in our joints, which is why women tend to get more joint pain. And so, yes, there are reasons to lose estrogen. However, that estrogen loss really varies from woman to woman.
Absolutely.
In some women, it can be actually a minority of your estrogen is lost after menopause. In some women, it could be a majority. So definitely for some women, it's under
So luck of the draw.
50%.
Right.
You might only lose 30%.
And not even
20%.
notice it.
Not even notice it. And then other women can easily lose 60% or 70%.
And that's why the degree of vaginal atrophy and elasticity can be different. Some women are getting hot and wet and bothered, and everything is elastic and everything is wonderful. And so can you stick around after break? Because I know you have some amazing products to take care of those issues that people run into so they don't have to stop having hot sex. So we'll come back to that.
Definitely.
We'll be right back. Keep your calls coming, and let's discuss sex, relationships, romance, or whatever else rocks your boat. Just a reminder that this is our last live show before summer, so be sure to call in right away so we can answer your questions now. And keep it locked on Rogers TV, because we have lots more great stuff still ahead, including your calls. So call us.